Today, I want to tell you that evil is at the gate in America.
We're seeing a new world order now being built, a post-World War II world order. And I don't think America can retreat from that. I think we have to balance and adapt and adjust to the realities and the currents of this new world order.
Lovely to see you both. Thank you very much indeed for coming in today. Why?
Chance to unwind, chill, and clear the mind, really.
Why not meditation?
I don't quite know, to be honest.
One man has transformed himself into a goat.
I now pronounce you married to the sea. Make love with the water. Make love with the water. Make love with the water. Stick your toes in any part of your body. Congratulations, everyone. You're now married to the sea.
My name is Rob, and I go by T-Virus. I express myself as a living doll.
There is also the agenda of confusing the sexes in society. The elite want to destroy the family. They are trying to destroy traditional values and also just confuse the masses so that they don't understand the God-given design of things. But they are God haters and they are after destroying the designs of God. So that is why they are using this propaganda campaign to fulfill that agenda. Nothing but staged propaganda to fulfill an elite agenda to confuse the masses so that sexuality is come under attack. So when these new philosophies start being preached through the media that, you know, sex is a social construct, there's no such thing, a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy, all this stuff because technology is now available, that these mindsets and ideas will be accepted. So this is an elite propaganda campaign. Absolutely, through and through. They're taking someone who represented as an Olympian maleness, manhood, and then now they're turning him into a female.
The mental insanity that continues to come out day by day in the world around us, the people who are just coming forward and pretty much admitting that they're mentally insane and embracing it, and others are embracing it saying, well, it's their choice and it's their right. Now we have a woman who is admitting that she's in an intimate relationship with a tree. Emma McCabe, 31, revealed in an interview that she's in love with a tree. His name is Tim. Have you ever met someone that's named a tree, let alone been in an intimate relationship? She says, my feelings are genuine. I've had boyfriends, but never connected with anyone like Tim. I'm in love and would like to get married. She wants to marry a tree. I look at other trees, but don't touch. I wouldn't cheat on Tim. So she's looking at some birch trees and some cedar trees, but she's remaining loyal to her tree, Tim. Hello, hi. Anybody else out there think that this woman has a mental problem? Is it just me? Or should I respect her right to be in love with a tree? Or should I think that we need to find a doctor in this woman's town? I'll pay for the doctor. Send him to her home immediately. Have her committed. She should not be roaming free. But somehow this story gets sicker. She goes on to say, he fulfills my emotional and sexual needs. She's having sex with a tree. Isn't this illegal for starters to be outside having sex with a tree in public? How is this going on? He fulfills my emotional and sexual needs. I orgasm by rubbing against the bark naked. I love the feeling of skin on bark contact, which gives me a more pleasurable pain sensation, and the feel of his leaves against my skin makes me tingle. I have sex with him every week. It's the best sex I've ever had. Do I need to reread that disgusting, disturbing paragraph? Or does everybody out there get the hint? Is anyone in this town getting the hint? They're okay with this woman going out into the woods having sex with a tree? Of course society's okay with it. It's her right to do it. We should embrace her love with the tree. Soon we'll have people marrying and having intimate relationships with fire hydrants, with plungers, possibly refrigerators, maybe even parking meters in the end times, folks. This is normal accepted behavior in the end time period. This is embraced. People are all about this stuff. I mean, who knows what people are going to be allowed to marry next? We've already talked in this channel about pedophilia is going to become legal. Bestiality and marrying your pets is going to become normal. Now we have women having sex with trees, marrying trees, loving how the leaves and the bark feels against their body. Soon we're gonna have people marrying their front doors. You got the dog people dressing as dogs, the pups, the pup community. Now we have a woman who wants to legally marry a tree. She's talking to the tree. She's having sex with the tree. She's admitting to being loyal to the tree. She admits she looks but doesn't touch, so she checks out the birch tree in the distance. Are you kidding me? More and more perversion is being allowed to happen.
A book called The New World Order, which was written by A. Ralph Epperson, who's written several of these types of books on the New World Order. Now this was written in 1989. Okay, so let's take a look at what they wrote here, or he wrote. The New World Order will include changes in the family. Homosexual marriages will be legalized. Parents will not be allowed to raise their children. The state will. All women will be employed by the state and not allowed to be homemakers. Divorce will become exceedingly easy. Monogamous marriages will be slowly phased out. The workplace. The government will become the owner of all factors of production. The private ownership of property will be outlawed. That's Agenda 21, of course. Religion. Religion will be outlawed and believers will be either eliminated or imprisoned. There will be a new religion, the worship of man and his mind. All will believe in the new religion, the New Age religion, of course. So this book was ahead of its time, obviously. There you go. I mean, this is exactly what's happening right at this moment. I mean, we're seeing marriage being attacked, religion being attacked. They ridicule religion everywhere. You see it in the music industry, how all the hip-hop stars come out and claim that they're God. They mock God.
You have male and female joined together and produce one. And this is prevalent everywhere. It is the male and the female producing one. In other words, joined together in one. The idea that both male and female converge into one is occultism, and it's deeply rooted in Satanism. The occult world talks about what's called a harmonic convergence. They talk about when all of the spirit of mankind converges into one universal spirit. It's called a paradigm shift. In plainer words, it is a complete change from the normal view and from the way people think into a new way of thinking. And by doing this, they are receiving another spirit. And by receiving that spirit, you have received the spirit of Antichrist, and you have received the spirit of hell, and it is at your doorstep.
We have never invested as much in public education as we should have because we've always had kind of a private notion of children. Your kid is yours and totally your responsibility. We haven't had a very collective notion of these are our children. So part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents. Part of it is we have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents.
You've seen and heard the statement by Melissa Harris Perry. We've recently uncovered some commonality with Adolf Hitler in the same quote. Now, Richard, this is the quote that we uncovered from Adolf Hitler from a speech that he gave in 1933. He stated, "When an opponent declares, 'I will not come over to your side,' I calmly say, 'Your child belongs to us already. What are you? You will pass on your descendants, however, now stand in the new camp. In a short time, they will know nothing else but this new community." As someone who's adept at translating collectivism into understandable English, could you tell us what she is saying here and the common ground that is shared with Adolf Hitler and why this should concern us?
Well, that's a famous quote by Hitler, but it's not the only quote that speaks about, give us the control of your child by age 5 and we'll have him forever. Lenin said similar things. The Jesuits have said similar things. So it's all about indoctrinating our youth into a new way of life where the morals and values are irrational. They have no connection to existence, and an individual becomes part of a collective through citizenship to a state. And once that citizenship to a state becomes tyrannical, if your government's not serving you, if they're not acting like servants and they're acting like authorities, how did they get those special rights? What is the train of logic from me and you that they got rights that we don't have? And so when you encounter that irrationality, you have to stop and think, because history does repeat itself, and without focusing on the words that are actually being said, for instance, in that MSNBC propagandized promo, there's 4 declarative sentences in there. If you analyze the terms are ambiguous, the premises are untrue, there's many contradictions within those 4 sentences, and therefore it's an intellectually bankrupt position. I don't want to speak on the messenger, I want to speak on the message, because when you do not dismiss that as arbitrary and carry on thinking that, oh, it's a good idea, our kids belong to us, but they're also part of the collective. If you don't stop and analyze and question those declarative sentences, you are being taken advantage of, you are being duped, and that's what psychological warfare is meant to do.
If you are now, or have ever been, a parent to a 15-year-old, you know just how impressionable and fickle they can be. Keep that in mind as we tell you about a shocking new policy in one western state that would allow 15-year-olds to have sex change procedures done without parents even knowing about it. Here's correspondent Dan Springer in Oregon.
15-year-olds in Oregon can't smoke, give blood, or get a tattoo, but now they can get drugs to suppress puberty and even a sex change operation without their parents' consent, and the government will pay for it.
It is trespassing on the hearts, the minds, and the bodies of our children. They're our children. And for a decision, a life-altering decision like that to be done unbeknownst to a parent or a guardian.
If you understand mind control and you understand when the brain is most vulnerable, you understand what they're doing with these kids is they are programming them at a young age to be gay, to be open to it, to create, if at the very least for them, to create a race of bisexual people. Because at the very least, that's what they expect to accomplish from this. At the very least. But you'll see the numbers escalate as more and more people will be gay. And they'll say, it's just because more and more people are coming out of the closet, okay? It's because more and more people feel safe now, so they're coming out of the closet. It's such a total lie and such a total scam. It's not because people feel safe, so now more people are coming out of the closet. That's why there's more gays and gays appearing. It's because it's mind control. That's what it is, and that's what this gay agenda is about. This is just another example of them going after our children and brainwashing them.
Education, if you take any look at what's going on in schools at the moment, sex education is just being rammed in the faces of children, ever younger, 5-year-old, and this is to get the children sexualized. And the reason they want them sexualized is because the plan is for the age of consent to be removed. And if you actually follow what Stonewall has been doing, they've steadily been pushing for the age of consent to be lowered. But behind the scenes there was, well, it should be lowered to 5. But what I'm going to tell you is they want to get rid of the age of consent altogether, because in the new regime, paedophilia is to be, inverted commas, normal and acceptable.
If you consider this revolting and perverted, understand that you will be seen as an intolerant, shallow person who should visit a psychiatrist. This is a usual playground slide. You don't believe it? Take a closer look. A boy of 5 is sliding down right there. This playground slide is in Norway, and it was put there in order to bring up children in a proper way, not to feel shy.
In Colorado, state law allows children to seek reproductive health services without parental consent. A clinic here in Colorado Springs is a division of Children's Hospital Colorado in Aurora, and it offers these confidential services to 12-year-olds. The children can get IUDs, birth control pills, and the Plan B pill for free, and you as a parent would never know. Also, your tax dollars are helping to fund these clinics, including the one right here in Colorado Springs.
But controversy roiling among parents in Seattle as 13 schools are allowing girls as young as 11 to access invasive birth control without their parents' okay as part of a state-administered program. Among these are so-called long-acting reversible contraceptives, or LARCs for short, and these include IUDs and hormonal implants. A spokesman for the program saying, quote, a young person does not need parental consent to obtain a LARC or any other contraceptive method. If the young person is not choosing abstinence, she would be able to select a LARC and have it inserted without parental consent.
A shocking announcement made by the American Psychiatric Association, APA, in its latest edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders caused an uproar among pro-family organizations and many others. As the APA states, it now classifies pedophilia as a sexual orientation or preference instead of a disorder. Sandy Rios, cultural expert and talk show host on the American Family Radio Network, has issued a statement on behalf of the American Family Association in response to the APA's position on pedophilia. Just as the APA declared homosexuality an orientation under tremendous pressure from homosexual activists in the mid-70s, now under pressure from pedophile activists, they have declared the desire for sex with children an orientation too. It's not hard to see where this will lead.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
The formation of such people of the future begins in special kindergartens. Here is one such preschool institution in Sweden. The kindergarten Egalia has been operating since 2010 in Stockholm. Here the children are treated as if they have no gender. Instead of han or hon, which is translated from Swedish as he or she, a child is called hen, which means it.
Whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea.